You are now recording.
Right.
It's all yours, Cheryl.
Yay. Well, thank you, Jill. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Movers. So I hope everybody's having a great night so far. And I've already had dinner and I was quite proud of myself. So let me make you guys a little smaller so I can. There we go. All right. So we are here to talk about one of my favorite things, and that is recruiting. But first, we get into that because I can be a little excited when I'm talking about recruiting. Let's start with like getting positive and start with some affirmations. So every day, morning and night, you should begin and end your day with a positive affirmation. Because what I like to tell everybody, our brains are just these massive computers. And until we program them, they're kind of like, don't know what to do. So when we're telling ourselves day in and day out positive things, it really starts to like come through everywhere. So here's a good one I love. I breathe in confidence and I exhale fear. Can't even talk tonight. So I didn't change that one, Jill, because I've not read that one before and I wanted to say it. So because I can talk a whole lot about confidence. I know that's really not what this is about, but I am going to take, y'all can probably hear the garage door opener because it's right underneath me making a little bit of noise. But one thing that I'll tell you, since we are talking about recruiting and sharing your love of Pampered Chef with others, is it may not be the first thing that you feel comfortable doing or confident doing. And I won't go back 21 years, but I did not have the confidence to talk to people about Pampered Chef, especially when it was brand new to me, like totally brand new to me. And I just thought, let me just suffer through these parties and let me try to get my bearings. And what I found is the more people that I was around, they knew about Pampered Chef and they were excited about Pampered Chef. So it excited me about Pampered Chef. And, honestly, the first few consultants actually kind of told me they wanted to join. But I don't want you to walk in my footsteps. And when I began, I want to share with you some things to make you feel a little bit more confident and to give you that self esteem, just to kind of build on that, what you already have, because the hardest thing to do is to join Pampered Chef. I think sometimes, it's that decision where you've got to be like, do I do it? Do I not do it? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? You're just so many things, fears are just kind of coming at you. But you've taken the first step and you have joined Pampered Chef. So look, you can totally do this. So let's talk about it. We sell and recruit two sides of the Pampered Chef coin. And if I wasn't in my pajama pants, Jill, we would stand up and we would do the Julie Ritter thing. Where it's like recruit, but what is it? Recruit, sell, recruit, sell. So picture this, guys. Picture this. You're standing up because I'm not going to do it. You're standing up and you've got both feet firmly planted in the ground. And if you are you take, say, your right foot is selling, your left foot is recruiting. If you are just sell, 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 guess what? You're going to be like in basketball and you're going to be pivoting. You're going to be like walking around in a circle. And that circle really goes nowhere but in a circle, kind of like my ring light right here. But if you're practicing selling and recruiting and selling and recruiting, guess what? You're moving. So think about that. Totally not like, maybe not where we was going with this two sides of the coin, but as soon as I saw that, I could think of the selling and recruiting. So why recruit? Let's talk about that. Well, when you share the love of Pampered Chef, everybody wins. You're gonna win. They're gonna win. Oh my gosh, you're gonna win with like building a team, and they're gonna win like, with sales and getting free products and the commission. So let's talk about what's in it for the new consultant. Okay. This is where I was totally looking at when I first joined Pampered Chef, was the income. Like, I so was excited about that extra money every month. And then comes products. And it's funny because this is kind of like in the same line that I was in my mind back in 1999. But I thought about, first thing was like the extra money. And then the products were super cool. Remember, I didn't know anything about Pampered Chef, but the products were super cool. And I was like getting really excited when the UPS, it was UPS back then, the UPS gal kept bringing all these boxes to my house. And what I found was I was having a lot of fun. And this was totally at cooking shows because we didn't have Facebook or really text messaging back then. So it was really fun kind of getting to meet people. And that was really one of the reasons why I joined Pampered Chef, was to kind of meet people in my area. And it was really fun. Plus, I was learning. Every party I went to, somebody knew of something that I didn't know. And so I was continually learning, whether it was about cooking or like networking with others or, just the products. And then the freedom. I can so talk about freedom with Pampered Chef. Um, I worked an 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday, sometimes 60 hours a week. So there is freedom when it comes to Pampered Chef. Trust me, I'd no longer work that 8 to 5, sometimes 6 to 5, sometimes 6 to 8 job. So there's freedom, whether it's freedom from that full-time job that you have right now, maybe freedom to go to the next one, travel a little bit more. Just all in general. Oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities. Traveling with Pampered Chef. Oh my gosh, do we want to talk about this one? Let's just name a few of the places that I've traveled to and that I know Jill has. There's Colorado. I know Jill went on a really nice trip to Colorado, the Bahamas. There's Hawaii. Look, I just drew a blank. California, Canada, Mexico. I know Jill's traveled a little further than I have, but the travel is amazing. And this says true that when you travel with Pampered Chef, you really don't want to travel on your own again because you don't touch your luggage from the time you get to the airport to the time you come back home. It's all taken care of. And all these bus or cars, buses, whoever picks you up, it's like they've got the little sign that says Pampered Chef, and you're just treated like a king and a queen. So don't keep all that fun to yourself. You definitely want to share with others, because when you're brand new, there's a lot of perks. So let's talk about those perks. All right. There's going to be 50 Pampered Chef dollars for you for every, let me skip that. Let me skip that top one. There's $100 cash for you when you're brand new with Pampered Chef within your first 90 days. For every new consultant that joins your team that you recruit in your first 3 months, you're going to get $100 cash when they reach the $1,250 they need to reach within their first 90 days. So you have somebody join, or somebody's join your team while you're in your first 90 days, and they submit 1,250 or more in their first 90 days, you're going to get $100 for each person. That's not just one, that's for each person. And then after that, we get 50 Pampered Chef dollars. Oh, wait, you get 50 Pampered, okay, yeah. We get 50 Pampered Chef dollars, and that's new consultants and anybody outside of their 90 days. So that Pampered Chef dollars can be spent on products. It could be spent on supplies, like books, catalogs, things like that. It can also be spent for conference registration. So there's some extra goodies, $100 cash, 50 Pampered Chef dollars. Let's talk about that. Amazing. There's even more. In your first 90 days, we have what we call a fast track program. And we're going to talk more about the cash bonuses. A lot of you probably already know about the product bonuses that you get in your first 90 days, but did you know that there's like some serious cash? So when you promote in your first, let's see, let me get over here to where I can see this right. When you start recruiting and promoting with Pampered Chef, you can earn up to a $3,000 cash bonus. So here's how it works. When you promote to director in your first 90 days, you're going to get a $500 cash bonus. Okay. Then when you are paid at the director level, you are going to get an additional $500 bonus. Now, let's take it a little bit further. When you promote to advanced director, which means somebody in your personal team has promoted to director themselves, you are going to get $1,000 cash bonus. And then guess what? Get paid at your title at advanced director for the next 3 months. You're going to bank another $1,000 cash. So that together is $3,000. And where was that in 1999? It would have gave me a little bit more of an edge, a little bit more confidence to really go share the love about Pampered Chef. So why not recruit? I know that you have got some concerns and you're probably sitting there going, oh no, Cheryl, no, I'm good right now. Just doing some parties and I'm good with that. Do you want to take a couple of minutes to share any concerns that you may have or type them in the chat? So if I will take them, if you want to type them in the chat, I'll look for them. But let's talk about some concerns that people have. All right. Whoops. Let me back up. Let me just kind of back up really quick. Do we want to come off mute, Jill? Is that normally what y'all been doing here on the recruiting one? All right, because I know we've got some new people here. So Patty, Judy, Michaela, I don't know if you can or not. Do y'all want to come off mute really quick and just kind of share maybe a concern or two that you have about maybe, talking with others about joining Pampered Chef? Give me a chance to take a drink of water.
I will go. I just joined a couple weeks ago, so I just want to get a feel for it so I know what I'm talking about before I talk to anybody else about it.
I totally understand, Judy. Who did you join under?
Katie Helpy. So under
Janine. Katie
Oh,
is on Janine's team. So Judy is on Janine's team.
Look, I was going.
She's like, I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
But Janine, she knows.
Okay, I know Janine. Yes. All right. Yes, I totally understand the concern. What about you, Patty? Are you able to come off mute and share one of your concerns that you have? Let's see. All right. Patty says, I've got her in chat. I find it hard to talk to anyone. I'm doing okay getting parties, but they're still so small. Okay. All right. Well, let's kind of talk about a couple of these concerns. And I totally get it because I know I've been there, Teresa's been there, Jill's been there. And when you're starting off brand new, absolutely, yes, you're gonna run into those things like I don't know what I'm doing and how in the world am I going to share that with anybody else? Well, the glory of it is, and you've probably seen this already, is we have this amazing training that is 24/7 at your fingertips, all new consultants it's called Dash, to get, to kind of get in, dig in and kind of see what Pampered Chef is all about. And Dash actually guides all new consultants through the first, steps and on into leadership. Like we're still getting Dash training as leaders with Pampered Chef. So Dash is an amazing resource. And guys, let me tell you, we started off with a book about this thick and it was quite intimidating. But Dash really makes it quite simple to kind of go through. And so don't think about what you don't know, or think about how easy that would be for somebody joining Pampered Chef to just hop on and do those little Dash trainings and get them through. Plus, you're not alone. You have Janine, you've got Jill, you've got all these resources right here at your fingertips and everybody else. So we have like messaging groups and there's all different kinds of networking groups that they can be a part of. So don't hold back. Don't let that fear of you not knowing what's going on kind of hinder you of talking to other people about it. Because honestly, I've had some new consultants that's jumped in, got in Dash or PC University or whatever the training, whatever we had at the time. And I rarely talk to them, not because I didn't want to, it just ended up being our schedules were so off and they just took their business and ran. So we can't, we don't want to hold other people back because everybody learns at different paces and different ways. So kind of keep that in mind. And Patty, with your show schedule, or maybe your shows being a little bit smaller, we're going to talk about how to talk to people, mainly your host, about joining Pampered Chef. Because trust me, that's where you want to start, and that will lead you into building that confidence to talk to others. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat. Oh, see, Michaela's brand new. She loves Dash and Consultants Corner. It's just a matter of digging in. And you know what? Small parties are okay, guys. We all have our small parties. All right, let's kind of move on. Let's build a little bit of confidence with you guys. Let me close that and make this. So one of the ways, whether your party is a $2,000 party or a $20 party, it all starts with a host, okay? In order to have a party, you've got to have a host. So guys, you have host and you have had host. So look, trust me on this. I learned this a long time ago and did not put it into practice because I didn't think it was like really valuable information. But your host is, sorry, Jill, I really didn't. But your host is absolutely your number one recruit lead. And guess what? If you're not asking your host about joining the business, then you are keeping him or her from getting all of their host benefits. Okay. It is a host benefit that we have, and we will talk about that. So let's talk about asking your host. Ask every host 5 times. So I'm just going to read this. Before setting up the show, one of the benefits of hosting, this is what you're going to say to your host, sorry. One of the benefits of hosting is that we can easily turn this into your launch party. That means you're going to get the host rewards and the paycheck, kind of like double dipping. Have you ever thought about doing something like this for extra income? So think about those words. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? Okay, because you're going to hear it a lot. So, and there's a good chance the very first time you ask them, they're going to say no, because it's just an easy answer. No. And when they say, when you say to them, have you ever thought about doing something like this? Whether you end it with the for extra income, or if you just simply leave it as, have you ever thought about doing something like this? You're not really asking them, hey, are you ready to join Pampered Chef? So their answer no to your question of have you ever thought about doing something like this could simply mean no, they've never thought about doing something like this. But that means it could be on their mind, in the back of their mind, or, so think about the question that you're asking and the answer they're given. So the second time, as hosts, as guests are joining the party, you're going to say, oh my gosh, your friends are so excited. Looks like they really love Pampered Chef. Are you sure you don't want to give this a try? It's not too late to make this your launch party. And you wait and let them answer. Okay. So the third time is when they reach $200 in guest sales. Why? Because if you look at behind your catalog, look at your host rewards, when they hit $200 in sales, they automatically get a $25 kit credit coupon. Okay. So you're going to say, you just qualified for a kit credit. Did you know that you could use $25 or $50 towards one of our consultant kits? I know you said you didn't want to, but this is an important part of our host benefits. So I always like to make sure. Here are the 3 kits you can choose from. Which one would you choose? Okay. But you always end, when I send my potential host, my potential recruit leads, my host, when I send them the kits, I don't just send them the picture of the kits. I always ask them, if you're going to choose one, which one would it be? And that'll give you a feel for maybe what the products that they already have in their kitchen. Maybe it'll give you a feel of their financial situation, but don't take any of that like for sure. It'll just kind of give you an idea of what they've got their eyes on and that they've been looking at it. Next, okay, so the 4th time you're going to say when they have bookings or leads from the draw-in slip, because I like to put my Google Door Prize draw-in slip in the party a few times, and I usually like to do it pretty early in the party. So you're going to say something like, this is so much fun. There's a question on the drawing slip that's asking your guest if they want to have a party with the host if they join Pampered Chef. And you already have 4 people who said they would have a party with you. Just needed to let you know that in case you're still thinking about that, because look at all these friends that are so ready to support you. Now, next is when you're closing, even though they have told you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times that they are not interested in Pampered Chef, don't submit their party until you ask them one last time. And I don't even really mean last time, but one more time, let's say. So when you're getting ready to close their show, say before you say this to your host, before we close out your party, I wanted to ask one more time, if you're sure you don't want to give this business a try for just 30 days, I would love to give you the bookings to get started. What do you say? There we go. And let me add, did I take the one? Okay. Let me add a 6th time, just because I'm thinking about it. So let's talk about this. Your host says no, you submit her party, but he's got 3 or 4 bookings lined up, and you are starting that next party. You could simply call that host your past host and say, hey, I'm getting ready to start Teresa's party. Now that you've had a chance to really kind of think about it and get your products, are you sure you don't want to give Pampered Chef a try? You know, it's not too late. So think about that. I have recruited a host after the party, after I'd already booked that her booking, after I started the party from a booking from her show. So think about that. Potential team members, where do they come from at shows? So this is who you're going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for those rock star guests. And a rock star guest, it's anybody in the party with a heartbeat that is commenting, that is liking, that is loving, that is laughing, that is communicating. That's a rock star guest. Okay. Remember, heartbeat. You want to talk to those people that have lots of products, because why? They love Pampered Chef. Or those that have no products, because it's a great way to fill your kitchen. Trust me, I had 2 products when I joined Pampered Chef, and neither one of them helped me really cook good. It was a My Safe cutter for the kid, the kid's knife, and corn cob knobs, so I didn't have to get my hands hot when I boiled corn. So think about that. You want to talk to those people that are asking a lot of questions. Even the question that's, when's the party end? Remember those guests that have a heartbeat. Others that are sharing ideas or products that they really love. The ones that are playing games, just because they're playing games doesn't mean that they're just wanting a free gift. Then look at those people that are on Facebook a lot. You know, when you're at a party, you're connecting with other people, they start to show up in your newsfeed. And then guess what? Those ones that message you. So definitely, if they're going to reach out to you, whether you've asked them to reach out to you or not, is a win. That's a potential team member. And then respond when you message them. You know, you get a lot of times you're messaging people and they don't respond, but then all of a sudden you've got somebody that's responded. Hey, you know, that means they want to interact with you. They want to engage with you. Take advantage of that. Always ask the question, have they ever thought about doing something like this? So here's an example. Hi, Jill. Thanks for joining us for Lisa's Pampered Chef Party. You've made it so much fun by interacting with everyone and sharing your love of Pampered Chef. You would make an awesome consultant. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? Okay. Are y'all seeing a pattern? The question is to everybody, have you ever thought about doing something like this? Jill Johnson told me that years ago. I asked her one day at the meeting, I was like, how do you recruit so well? How do you find all these new team members? What are you saying to them? And she said, it's simple, Cheryl. I'm just saying, have you ever thought about doing something like this? I brushed it off and didn't start doing that until about 4 years ago. And let me tell you, it's been amazing and I could really kick myself. But you know what? Our eyes are on the front of our face and we're always looking forward. We never look back to say what might have been or what could have been. So whether you're new at Pampered Chef or you've been around for a long time. It's never too late to change things. So your other recruit leads, guess who they are? It's everybody else. Everybody is a recruit lead. Heartbeat. Remember that. Okay. So what about looking for potential team members outside of shows? Let's think about this. And you might want to grab your phones really quick and take a screenshot of this, because I want you all to participate in doing this challenge. All right. Number 1, write down the names of 5 people who would be great at Pampered Chef and why you think they would be great. And I want you to write that down. Write their names down. Like, I think Jill would be great at Pampered Chef because I'm seeing her on Facebook and she's all the time posting food things. Or I think Teresa would be great at Pampered Chef because she's got such a sweet personality and she's very like magnetic. Think about that. So write down the people's names and why you think they would be good at that. And I'll come back to that. The next one, write down names of 5 people who need Pampered Chef and why they need Pampered Chef. Maybe you just scrolled across somebody that says, oh my gosh, I hate my job. Okay. They need Pampered Chef. They need some fun in their life. They need a job they love. Number 3, write down names of 5 people who you'd like to work with and why. Y'all seeing the pattern here? And why, and why, and why. And the 4th one, take pictures of this list and send them to your director, whether it's me, Jill, Janine, whoever your upline is. And the reason I say why you're going to do that, when you reach out to those people, you're going to say, I thought of you because, oh my gosh, I think you would make I will use Michaela, for example. She was a rock star on her mom's party back in April, and she had no problem being out in the party, commenting and talking about food things. She just really stood out. And I've been talking to her since her mom's party, and I'm very excited that she joined our team. But, the reason why I reached out to her is because she was like rocking the party. And I messaged her and it's like, hey, you're totally rocking this party. I don't remember the words exactly, but I told her why, because that's what I saw in her. And when you're talking to people and you can show them what you see in them, they'll start to believe it a little bit more, because you know what, guys, I don't know about you, but I know me. I like to be told sometimes the things that other people see in me, because we don't always see them ourselves. So it's always good to share with them why you see that in them. Okay. I don't know how we're doing on time, but so what do you say when somebody throws you that curveball and gives you that objection? Okay. So I'm just going to say what you need to not do is nothing. Okay. If they say, no, I'm not interested, you're going to respond to them. Okay. You don't just say, well, they're not interested. They don't want to hear from me. You want to respond to them. So here are some responses to objections. Now, I don't have the time. You're going to say, I totally understand. It sounds like you've got a lot going on. You might be surprised it doesn't take as much time as you might think. You can even work at times that fit for you, working alongside the other things in your life. Even party posts can be scheduled ahead of time. And then you can just check in here and there like you've been doing right now as a guest. Then we could find a way for, if we could find a way for it to fit, would you like to learn more? Okay. But understand, take the time to understand what they're telling you. Don't say, oh, well, it only takes a couple of minutes. You've got all the time in the world. You want to definitely say that you totally understand. Don't know what to do? Well, that's totally understandable. Online parties have been new for us all. That is why I do the launch party for my new team members, so that you can get started right away while still learning how things work. We'll work together and I'll be by your side the whole way. How does that sound? And that's the honest truth. When we first started with virtual parties, had no idea what I was doing back in 2016, 15. I guess 16 is when it really took off for me, maybe 15. But I reached out to Jill. We're here together, and she shared with me what she was doing. She added me to one of her parties so I could see how it works. So that's what you're going to do with your new consultants. You're going to work hand in hand with them. All right. And if they tell you no, and they really just mean no, they're not saying they don't like you. So don't take it like, oh my gosh, that's a stab in the heart. It's not personal, guys. Not everyone's going to respond to you. It's not personal. Think about that. How many times have you messaged people or text people and they've not responded? Think about it. It's not personal. They could have been distracted. They could have been driving. They could have been grocery shopping, sitting in the kid line, having dinner or whatever. Maybe they're thinking about it, or maybe they just simply forgot. So what do you want to do when you don't hear back from them? You want to follow up in a timely manner, not like 3 or 4 months down the road, but you want to follow up pretty quickly because, it could have simply slipped their mind. You're not bugging them. So after the first message, you want to follow up with about a day, about 24 hours. Second message, maybe a couple of days. And the third message, about 72 hours. Then, hey, if you don't hear back from them, make sure they're in your contacts with Pampered Chef and they're getting your email. And then you can reach back out to them later on when you're doing your customer care follow-up. Okay, so this is great. This was put out to us last year at conference, and it just makes sense. So it's called for every 4, add 1 more. So what this talks about is for every 4 parties, you want to add 1 person to your team. And so that means you're asking, you've got 3 or 4 hosts or 4 or 5 hosts going on, and you're going to make sure you're asking your host at least 5 times. And this tracker right here can be found in Dash. Okay. And it's great. You just print it off and you just fill it out and you put your host name and be like Jill Johnson. And the date's like 11/9. And I'm going to ask her, every time I'm asking, I'm going to put a check mark in that box. Ladies and gentlemen, if you print this off and you don't put check marks in your ask host 5 times boxes, you're doing them a disservice. Because remember, there's that Kit credit coupon that they could be taking advantage of. And you're going to also write down your rockstar guest names on here. Curious guest names, that one that's always asking all kinds of questions, or maybe ask questions in your Q&A post. The ones that book a party. All right. Y'all have questions on the every 4, add 1 more before I move on real quick? If you do, we'll have time at the end. It took me a little bit to wrap my head around it when they first told us about it at conference. I'm like, oh yeah. So it just means you just want to be consistently asking your host and other guests in the party. All right. Well, look, there we go. There's questions. Whoops. I am gonna stop the screen share because I like to see everybody. There we go. Okay. Well, I like to see Jill. I can see everybody else's name. All right, guys. So y'all can go ahead and unmute and let's take a few minutes just to kind of talk about things. We're going to talk through some things because sometimes it's better. Michaela, if you're not able totally, put your questions in the chat, we will be monitoring that. So let's talk about recruiting. Who right now, and I'll call you out if you don't respond, because I see everybody's names on here. Who on here has already got people in mind when I talked about, making those lists of 5 people that who could use the business or who would like to do it or whatever? Who's got some names already in their mind or written down?
I have a few.
Awesome, Judy. Great. See, we went from being a little bit nervous because you're afraid you don't know enough to you got a few people. All right, Patty, what about you? Have you got some people in mind? Oh, there you are. She's got one name down. I'm going to look at my party notes to finish. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Monica. Welcome. So we're just kind of talking about, Tyler just turned the TV on. So, well, let's talk about that. Let's think about people. Let's kind of brainstorm really quick, just for a couple of minutes. I was checking my time, but what about friends? What about your best friends? When I first started Pampered Chef, I joined alongside of one of my really good friends that I worked with for 8 years. I took another job, I moved, took another job. So we weren't seeing each other every day at work anymore. And we both attended the same Pampered Chef party. She decided she was going to give the business a try. And guess what? I thought, well, I so could do it. I think I want to meet people in my town. And if Rhonda's doing it, we could learn together. So think about that. Have you got some friends that you may not be asking for fear of, you might not want to come across as the door knocking Avon lady? Think about that. Think about some of your friends. Think about like your best friend, because the first time I ever went to National Conference in Chicago, my best friend Robin went along with me because she joined Pampered Chef. And it was so much fun to be able to experience something like that with my best friend. And, you know, that's where you start. You start with the people that are in your close circle, because the funny thing, Avon is cool. There's nothing wrong with Avon. I use Avon too. But we want to talk to the people that are closest to us, because they're going to sit around and they're going to be like, wow, Patty, I want a rock crock in my kitchen, or I would like that air fryer and all those cool kitchen gadgets. When you're not talking to your friends about this, you're not being a good friend. You want to make sure you talk to your friends about this, because you never know that friend that you turn around and say, all right, listen, I've been kind of challenged and I'm going to ask everybody, but you know what? It would be really fun to do Pampered Chef with you. Have you ever thought about doing this with me? We could go on this venture together, give it a try, if not, but just for a month, earn some extra Christmas cash. What do you think? So let's look. All right. Y'all are super, super quiet. All right. Come on now. All right, Judy, you got anything else? Any other concerns or anything you guys got? Right.
I just have a question. How do you like not bug somebody like a friend so much? Like you're constantly asking them, talking about Pampered Chef. So they're like starting to avoid you because that's all you talk about. Where do you walk that? You know, how do you?
Well, okay. So let's just, if you don't mind me asking, so tell me a little bit about like your conversations. Like, is that all like, yeah, just kind of like give me a little bit of more information on that. That can help you out.
I have a relative who I talk to a lot. She used to sell something else.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say it, but I'll just say it. Tupperware. She
Oh,
used to sell
yeah,
Tupperware.
it's fine. It's fine. Yes. Okay. So she used to sell, your relative used to sell Pampered Chef, I mean Tupperware, right?
Right.
Okay.
So now I've been talking to her and, you know, all excited about Pampered Chef, and now she's like avoiding me.
Did she answer so tell me what you've been saying to her. Like, what kind of conversations have you been having with her?
Just asking her about having, you know, to have a party, and, you know, just talking about some of the new stuff I got in my kit. And, you know, I don't know what I said that was necessarily the thing that was like, okay, stop talking to me about it now. But
Well, I don't think you've done anything wrong unless the only conversation that you're having with her is like, you know, let's just name your relative Jill. Jill, oh my gosh, I'm da-da-da Pampered Chef, blah, blah, and you never make it about them, and it's always about you. So, and I don't think, I mean, if, you know, I wouldn't see any of us doing that. Jill, do you got anything you want to chime in? You're muted.
I didn't hear the first part of it. I had to step away and help my parents with something. So that when I had my video off, I wasn't sitting here, so I didn't hear
Okay. Oh, okay.
the situation.
Judy's feels like she might have bombarded one of her relatives that used to be in direct sales.
Mhm.
And she's afraid, she's wanting to know like how much is too much, and you know, to like kind of be talking to somebody about it before you run them off.
Right. It's a tough question because there's not an absolute. there's not like a this many times, or, it's different for each person. It's different for the circumstances. I will say sometimes people who have been involved in direct sales before, if it was not a great experience, they're kind of gun shy. So they're more sensitive to like something that you might say to somebody else would be perfectly fine, but they receive it differently because they have had an experience that was, if it was not a real positive experience, which, sadly is the case sometimes, they're, they, like I said, it comes across differently to them. And it's not because of anything that you did, it's on their side, which is still important. I mean, that's not to say that we don't pay attention to that, but as far as the reason why sometimes people react differently is because of something in their background and their experience that's caused them to react differently than what you might expect or what other people would, which, makes it more tricky because there are not any absolutes. So, Patty had put in the comments here to follow social cues. If they're looking away when you're talking, if they're, that's absolutely true. It's a little, the tricky part is so much of what we do now, unless maybe if it's like a family member, not so much, but so much of it is by either text or a private message. So you don't have the same, things as far as expression on their face or tone or voice or anything like that to go by. But one of the things that I think can go a long way to managing that is asking questions, not invasive, like nagging questions, but engaging them in a conversation so that they're actually, a lot of what's guiding the conversation is what they say. So instead of it could be very easy to just like, we get excited and we've got all this great stuff to share and we go blah, 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 and, word vomit, so to speak. Monica, when we were messaging a little bit about somebody recently and made that comment, not wanting to do that. And sometimes that can be what happens. And if we are asking things, maybe you say something and then asking for their feedback or their opinion about it or getting them engaged in it is going to really, give you an idea of if they want to engage, if they don't respond to a couple of those kind of statements. Well, sort of like the words to use that Cheryl went through on those slides, where almost every one of them ends with a question that really is intended to involve them in a conversation, not just a lecture from me, no matter how exciting it is, how exciting I think it is. We want it to be something that they are part of, that's a two-way street. And when we do that and ask, give little bits of information or share a little bit of something and then ask for even just something that's kind of an affirmation or acknowledgement of what we've said. So sort of getting the little yeses along the way is one way that you'll hear it talked about in sales. And, that's just a matter of kind of confirming that they are still engaged in this conversation. So, like I said, you can't give absolutes because it depends on what those circumstances are. But if you're asking questions, I think that's a good sign that you're doing this in such a way that is respecting their input, because you're giving them an opportunity to give some input in a way that's going to guide you where to go next. Now, the good thing about messaging, if you're doing private messaging or texting, is that you don't have to respond immediately. You can think, and you can take a screenshot and send it to your director, or do something like that and have a chance to, okay, I'm not sure what to say to this, and get some help and some input from other people, whether it's somebody with more experience or just other eyes, kind of being part of that conversation can be really helpful. So that's one of the things I love about Messenger. And I do, a ton of my communication with people on Messenger, because you can, kind of just, think a little bit about what you want to say in response, and, kind of just finesse it a little bit more sometimes in an actual conversation on the phone or in person. You say something later, you're like, I can't believe I said that, or I wish I had said this, or gosh, whatever. So especially if you're wanting to get some help or someone else's input, you can't really do that in a conversation. You're like, okay, can you just hold on a minute? Let me call Cheryl and see what she thinks. But when it's a text or a PM, you can be like, okay, I'm going to step over here and get a little, thoughts from somebody else before I respond. And that can be really helpful. And especially when you're newer to these conversations, because that's what it is. I mean, everything we do really comes down to communicating with people. whether you're selling them something so their cookies don't burn, or hosting a show, or taking care of customer care, that's what it is. And so it is a skill though that everybody can develop, that we all can get better at, just like learning a new language. And so sometimes it takes a little bit longer to come up with how you want to phrase things, and that's okay. And when you need a little help or input from someone else, that's what we're here for. So that maybe that helps.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Okay, so one of the things I was listening to a marketing coach, and one of the things he said was, when you're talking about a product to anybody, don't talk about the product itself, but what does it solve?
Mhm.
What's the benefits of that product? Or you don't even have to sell the product, For instance, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Shirley Johnson. But anyway, she was saying that when you and Ray Higdon too, amazing marketing coaches. But one of the things he says, if for instance, if you're selling I was using the pizza stone tonight. I don't have to say, oh, check out this pizza stones from Pampered Chef, blah, blah, blah. I went on there and thought, this is a cool tool I got. It's amazing. The results are amazing. You want to have great pizza. You want to make homemade pizza with your grandkids. You want to make homemade pizza with your kids. This is so awesome. See, I didn't mention Pampered Chef. I mean, it's not that I'm ashamed of Pampered Chef, because as soon as you mention the product or the name of a company, people's like, oh, she's selling. But if you talk about what it solves, people don't assume you're trying to sell them something.
Right.
You're selling them a solution. If they want to make amazing pizza at home, this is, it's a great product to use. You're going to have amazing pizza. So one of the things I do when I reach out to people, I don't sell the name of the product. I sell the solution. What does it do? And if you watch my lives, I don't talk about where you can find these stuff. It is what it does. And people don't assume, because as soon as people think that you're selling them something, they're like shut you out. A lot of people are like that way. So it's just one of those tips that I have learned from those guys.
Yeah, I think that's great and important to remember. Now, of course, it's a little different. Like if you're in at a cooking show or in a virtual party, people know that this is a sales thing happening. You know what I mean? So it's not quite the same there, because you're showing them a product and they're expecting to see the stuff that you're offering because you're in that context. It's like if you walk into Kohl's or Target or something, clearly this is a situation where you can buy things. But even in those settings, you're definitely going to make more of an impact when you do, like Monica said, you're offering a solution to a problem or a challenge that they have. And it has a lot to do with sometimes you'll hear people talk about the features versus benefits. And what you want to focus on are the benefits. Like, why should I care? If you're going to tell me this thing is made out of stainless steel, that doesn't tell me anything. If you tell me what I can do with it, the problem it's going to solve, that I'm, the way that it's going to benefit me, that's the thing that's important to people. And what you want to do is take that same concept and you apply it to hosting shows, to becoming a consultant. So you're not talking about, oh, you should sell Pampered Chef, but talk about what's that person's situation where this could be a benefit to them. What's a solution that a Pampered Chef business could be part of. So maybe it's a matter of this person that is needs to buy a new car and they don't know how they're going to take on a car payment, or they just lost their job or some hours at work, or have some retirement to save for, student loan bills to pay, something like that. Or maybe they just need some more fun. They're like totally bored and they're looking for something fun to do. Or there's somebody who is home with their kids and they'd like to have an outlet, or they're not home with their kids and they want to be. Those are the problems that are floating around out there that a Pampered Chef business can address. So when you focus on a person that you're talking to and you're coming at it from the standpoint of what's in it for them, as far as the aspects of a business that are going to apply to problems that they have and solutions that you can provide, that's when it becomes really meaningful and relevant to them. And not just me standing up here saying, okay, everybody should do this or buy this because I said so. Not that we would ever use those words, but we don't want it to come across that way. So Monica, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, and applies to like literally every aspect of, of our business. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that, Pampered Chef does have a whole lot to offer, and it's the key is, guys, when we're talking about the business and, looking for, you know, looking for new team members, one thing we need to think about, what do you want out of your business? What is one of your goals? Because one of the things that I've learned along the ways is you've kind of got to have an end in mind. You got to have, like, you're not going to just jump in your car and take off and go on vacation. Most time you kind of got to know your destination so you can know what to pack, or how much money you're going to need depending on where you're going to stay, or if you've got to get a sitter for your dogs, or I'm talking about take your dogs or have somebody come watch your dogs. You got to let them know. So there's a little bit of a planning that goes on. And that's the same thing with your business. You all join Pampered Chef for one reason or the other. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, people join a direct sales, or they go to work outside of the home, or whatever it is, for the income. I absolutely love my Pampered Chef business, but I started for the paycheck, and that's why I started. And I'm quite sure that most everybody, I'm quite sure everybody on this call started for that little bit of extra income, whether it was date night out, or a car payment, or, wow, Christmas. I mean, it could be just something. It doesn't have to be like huge, but think about that, and think about what do you want your business to look like? It might be a little deep right now. No, we're all kind of new, but think about, if you were to reach for directorship, think about what that income would do to your family. What would you do with that extra income? Really think about it. Like, if I were to make an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, what would you put it on? So think about things like that, because it so can work for you. And think about how that would help other people when you're talking with them about Pampered Chef. But honestly, when you're engaged in, whether it's a messenger conversation, text message, or like in the face type of conversation with somebody, just make it really simple. Really simple. You don't want to go into all these benefits that they can get as a Pampered Chef consultant. You really simply just want to ask them, have they ever thought about doing something like that? And then be quiet. Don't say anything else. Don't give them ideas. Don't encourage them one way or the other. Just simply say, hey, Michaela, you've done such an amazing job on this party. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? And then you be quiet, and you let them think about it. You let them think about that through their, in their mind, and then address the answer that they give you. And maybe if they say no, don't say, oh, okay. Because remember, you're not asking them if they want to sign up to be a Pampered Chef consultant, right? You're asking them simply if they've ever thought about doing something like this. So that no could mean, no, I've never really thought about it. And then you could say, would you like to learn more? I'd be excited to talk to you a little bit more about it. But don't give them the whole grocery store. Don't give them aisles 1 through 20, please. Simply, you want to make it very simple, because really it is simple. Have they ever thought about doing something like that? Less is more. Okay, there's time for the rest of it. Oh, sorry, Michaela, I wanted to get back to that. I just went back to the chat and just saw that. Michaela's asking, what if nobody's interacting in the parties beside the host? And I was going to message you about that tonight. Is that we need to have more people in the parties. Facebook right now, I don't exactly know what's going on with it, but I know that I'm sure Jill's experienced this, and some other people that are running virtual parties right now. The interaction seems to be a little bit lower. And I think the reach of the parties is not as far as it used to be. So the most important thing to do is in any kind of party situation, whether it's your lunch party or, whatever kind of party it is people. You have got to really, and this is Michaela, not just you, everybody I'm talking to, you've really got to continue to add people to the parties every day. And don't think of just those people that you think that would want to be in your Pampered Chef party, because the invite from Facebook for a group is simply an invitation. It's just like you're inviting people to come to your birthday party. You're sending them an invitation to join. You're not adding them to the group, and they will take that. They'll either take it and join or they won't. But on the flip side of that coin is you need to send a reminder, whether it's through text message, and it needs to be a one-on-one reminder with your guests, simply like, hey, I don't know if you saw or not, but I'm having a Pampered Chef party. And I know how the notifications, because trust me, guys, I lose notifications all day long. And I know it was there a minute ago and then it's gone. Like I have no idea where it went. But you have to reach back out to them and say, hey, I just wanted to make sure. Here's the link to the party. If you'd like to join, I'd love to have you. But it needs to be a personal message between you and that one person. Yes, invite, but you want to make that personal connection, because you're making it about them when you personally ask them and not about you. Okay. I hope that was a lot, but it's true. It's true, guys. I did a party for another direct sales company in January, and I had the biggest show that I've ever had in a direct sales. And I don't do a lot of parties out. I do, I'm never a host of any kind of party, hardly ever. But I did my own host coaching with myself, and I invited every day people in the morning and people in the evening. And I went back through my friends list, and I sat there for about a few minutes on my phone 2 or 3 times in the morning, 2 or 3 times in the evening, and just added 10 to 15 people at each segment. And I had one of the biggest parties I've ever had. And it was because I kept, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you invited me. But not everybody joined, but I just kept reaching out.
That's why you need this many. So it narrows down to the ones that are actually interested, because they're not going to all be interested. But if you only start with 10 that you think are going to be interested and only 2 actually are, or notice it and respond, that's never going to be enough. So yeah, certainly for a good party interaction, just the sheer number of people involved, it comes into play, because the percentage of them that are, you can't take someone who's not interested, doesn't care, and make them be. So we wouldn't want to do that anyway. So what you want to do is find the ones that are going to engage and be interactive and want to be actually part of what's going on. And in order to have enough of those, then you need to over invite to get those people there. So,
and Judy, that may help you too with keep asking everybody, and just continuing to ask other people and not just the relative that sold Tupperware. So, and just spread it out, and you'll circle back around to the Tupperware lady in a couple of months.
And I think too, that goes to what Monica said about showing. Sometimes that's what it is. And people who are resistant or aren't interested, that's okay. We're not trying to twist anybody's arms, or, there's not any magic words that if you say it just the right way, it's going to, change everybody's mind. You just say, you know what, that's fine. I'm just going to be over here doing my thing, making my pizza. And one day you might say, wow, that pizza is really awesome. How do you make it come out so good? And then you can share that stone with them without having been sticking it in their face. And I think so there's that aspect of marketing a product, an opportunity, and yourself along with it, that is kind of a more indirect with the, sometimes you're called attraction marketing, where it's because things appeal to people about what you're doing without being overtly selling a product to them.
Jill, just one thing. I'm sorry. You said that 2 things. The first is someone sees something, somebody, everyone, unless you're exceptional, they see something, they have to see something 7 to 10 times or 7 to 12 times before they decide that they want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. So remember, just asking the first time, just one time, when you don't reach back out, you're losing a customer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your Facebook, your stories, all of that come in play, because people are seeing.
Yeah.
That's what marketing is. People are
Mhm.
seeing, and at some point it's like, oh man, that's interesting. But the
Mhm.
second thing is an example. Earlier I think it was last week, I was doing a live and I used, I believe it's one of my deep dish, Pampered Chef. And I didn't even say it was Pampered Chef. I was just cooking and I showed them how cool it is and how well it works. And one of the girls, she goes, oh man, that's cool. I need that. And I said, do you need that dish? Oh, I'll PM you some information. And she
Mhm.
goes, oh yeah, that's so cool. I said, hey, why don't I host you a fun party and you can probably get this for even free or half off or whatever it is. And so
Mhm.
she's having a party
Yeah.
because I was showing it in one of my fun video,
Mhm.
and she thought it was cool. I didn't say, oh, this is Pampered Chef. You hook me, hit me up if you want it. I didn't sell her it.
Mhm.
I sell what it does,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you
So
followed through with that message and invitation to get it, because that's really important too, on both ends of things. You got her attention, and something that was created that desire in her to have it, and then you also brought in the aspect of not only getting it but getting it free. So it's a benefit for both you and her. It's a win on all sides, for you to have the booking and for her to be able to get something that she wanted anyway. So that's perfect. Awesome. Nice job, Monica. All right.
Anybody got anything else? Guys, this is baby steps. So just remember that, was it Rome wasn't built in a day? Earth,
Yeah.
I mean, everything takes time. And so just if you want to excel in whether, something like this with recruiting, I'll be really quick, Jill. But if you want to do something, whether it's recruiting or get more bookings or be a better host coach, the one thing that I can tell you all, the best way to do that is to become a really good student. I wasn't a very good recruiter until I became a really good student. And I was seeking trainings. I was looking at people that were doing what I wanted to do. And I started mimicking what they were doing. And it was just as simple as that. It's just think about going back to high school. Think about it being fun now. But, we didn't know algebra. The all younger generation learned that a long time earlier in life than we did. But, or, you didn't learn calculus the first day when you walked into class. You didn't know it the first week. It takes time after time. You got to hear things and hear them and hear them and hear them. So think about that. If you want to get better at something, just start doing it over and over and over again. Listen to the trainings, get involved, ask your leader maybe for some resources, and you can get there. You can do exactly what you want to do with Pampered Chef. Trust me.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
All
hey
right.
Jill, just one more thing. I'm sorry, I
Nope, that's
don't mean
okay.
to, but I wanted to share the tips to the other young girls. Uh, some of them that are concerned about not getting customers. One of the
Mhm.
things I did, that I am actually currently doing, is I'm going through my friends list on
Mhm.
Facebook, and I am just messaging them, letting them know, hey, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Pamper Chef, but I just wanted my friends to know that I'm a consultant because I love cooking and I love the product. And if you're ever interested, let me know. That's it.
Mhm.
So, and people will tell you, oh, I love Pampered Chef. When I need something, I'll let you know, or, if I think of somebody, I let you know, something like that. But
Mhm.
no, I've not gotten back oh, I hate Pampered Chef, or I'm not familiar. You just want them to respond to you and
Mhm.
let them know that, oh, I'm selling, I have Pampered Chef.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. It's sort of like in shows where we talk about, sending a thank you text for ordering or for having just been part of the show, just to say thank you, not because you're asking for something, but just to make that connection. So in the same way, Monica, what you're doing is you're just letting them know, I just want to let you know that I'm here for, with Pampered Chef, if there's anything I can do for you. So you're not asking them right off the bat to do something for you. You're just giving them that information that you are there to help if they need it. And my guess is, I can't, you'd have to, say, but my guess is that there are some people, when you do that, when they come back with, oh, I love Pampered Chef, then you can continue to kind of engage that and say, oh, wow, have you, seen our new catalog that just came out? Or, things like that can often lead into some more conversations about other aspects of the business, but you're not leading with asking them to do something for you. You're, just kind of opening the door and seeing who wants to step through and continue to talk about it.
Yes, I have. And I have about the next 2 weeks, 4 parties each booked. And several of them are from me reaching out to them and letting them know that this is what I'm doing.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have any comments before we wrap it up tonight? Okay, I'm going to stop.